Donald Trump is out with a new proposal for Vladimir Putin in hopes to restart relations between both countries. In an interview with the Times of London, Trump is proposing to end sanctions imposed on Russia over its annexation of Crimea in return for a nuclear arms reduction deal. He said in part, quote, "They have sanctions on Russia. Let's see if we can make some good deals with Russia." Foreign policy experts say negotiating any agreement with Moscow won't be simple.
So it's all a question of where does Trump want to start the dialogue? What issues is he going to raise? Whether we're talking about arms reduction treaties or Syria or negotiations over sanctions or Ukraine, these are all very interconnected. So when we look at these arms control treaties, that's one piece of it.
The only way those are going to come off is if Russia pulls out of eastern Ukraine, where it's waging a simmering war where people die every week.
Russia currently has a total nuclear warhead inventory at 7,000 compared to the United States at 6,800. Global nuclear weapons reached a peak of 70,000 in 1986.
It's the only country that can mount a large-scale, coordinated first strike on the United States and destroy vast numbers of targets here. For the United States, this has to be taken quite seriously. After the Soviet collapse a quarter century ago, there was no real reform in the military and security services structures in Moscow, and so we're seeing evidence of that today in Russia's aggressive policies.
We're not at the same scale of a nuclear arms race that we were, say, in the 1980s. So this is not the same scale as the Cold War, but certainly in the longer term, the United States is very concerned about its nuclear defenses.
Trump believes his experience in making business deals at home and abroad over the past several decades will prove to be a great asset.
Making deals in the boardroom is very different when you get to the world of grand strategy and geopolitics.
Diplomacy is often about give and take, about making concessions in order to get something more important. Business leaders have to do that, so both President Trump and Secretary of State Tillerson, assuming Secretary of State Tillerson is confirmed, they both have experience in that area, and that will help them.
Experts believe the new president will have a tough task on his hands getting Russia on board in any deal which impacts their national security. In New York, Chris Snyder, Fox News.